Hi everyone, welcome to another one of my independent movie reviews. And yes, I am recording this in my car because I don't really have time to record it anywhere else. And I watched the film Tangerine, and what can I say about Tangerine? Well, it's interesting to say the least. There are some parts of the film that I actually genuinely did really like. I'm not going to lie, there are some aspects of the film which I really enjoyed. And then there are other parts of the film I was just like, why? What are you doing? Why is this in the film? This is not necessary. The pacing is all over the place. It's like really fast and manic sometimes, and really slow at other times, and really manic and really slow. Seems to be no consistency at all. It's just like, I don't know, like when they made the film, they're on something. I'm not saying they were, because that's libelous, but I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, it's just completely manic. Obviously done on a tight budget. I think a lot of the people, the extras in the background, were just generally people who happened to be on the streets. They looked like someone was going around with a little camera. So a lot of shots from the back. And I was watching it thinking I could make a film like this. Just get two of my friends walking down a street chatting, and I just walk behind them with my camera and just film the back of their heads. So it's not a criticism. It may sound like one, but the main story is you've got a transsexual prostitute who's just got out of jail, and she's found out that her boyfriend, who also happens to be her pimp, has been cheating on her, so she goes mad trying to find this other whore to confront her about it. That's the main story. Then there's kind of like two minor subplots as well. You got her friend who is going around, and she's also a transsexual prostitute, but she wants to do some singing at the bar, so she's trying to get her friends to come and watch her sing. And then another subplot, I'm not really sure why it's in there, to be honest. There's this taxi driver who has a thing for this hooker, Sandy, and he finds out that she's just got out of jail, and he just basically, I don't even know why that bit of story's in there. You see him driving about, it's really random. You see him picking up passengers, and they've got dialogue and speech, but you don't ever get to know the customers. I suppose it's trying to show what it's like being a taxi driver. You pick someone up, you have a chat with them, and then they go, and then you pick someone else. I don't know, it just, the whole bit with him just felt like it didn't need to be there. That's how I felt. There is some very brief nudity. It doesn't really focus too much on it, so it's not like a main part of the film. You don't see anything like graphic or anything like that. It's just sort of part and parcel of what's going on, so that's not really a main aspect of it. It's just sort of there, and it's only on the screen for a very short period of time when it's on there. And then it goes like really manic again, and then really slow again. But like, why Sandy's trying to chase down her boyfriend Chester, it's kind of really manic. You see her going around the streets. It's like, have you seen Chester? Have you seen Chester? Have you seen, and it's really manic. It's all over the place. And then it will just sort of stop, and then she's like contemplating and thinking, and then the camera, and you get some weird camera angles. It's kind of like when I used to film things before I bought a tripod, and I'd just be searching for anything to rest my camera on, and I would end up with some weird camera angles, because then I got a tripod. This is long before I started doing YouTube videos. But before I bought a tripod, and if I wanted to get an outside shot, I'd have to find something to rest my camera on. And the angle was sometimes a bit weird, and that's what it kind of felt like. That they're just thinking, oh, where can we... Like, there's a bit, she's at a bus stop. She's basically just thinking, contemplating things through in her mind, and she's kind of like, down here somewhere, It's that really weird angle. So, yeah, that's slightly strange. So obviously done on a tight budget. Obviously done just walking around the streets, someone just chasing after them with a little camera. As I said, there are parts of the film I actually did generally really quite enjoy. And then there are other parts of the film which are just like, this is unnecessary, this doesn't need to be here. There's a scene in a car wash, you see what's going on, kind of. It's not like, you know, graphic in your face. But the camera's like stuck. Imagine the camera's back here. Hang on. So the camera is set back here, kind of, and you've got one person here, and they're going through the car wash, and it's the taxi driver has basically picked up one of the transsexual prostitutes, and then that scene just goes on for too long, and it's like, they could have cut this down. This scene is unnecessarily long. Okay, okay, if you want to show what he's doing and what they're doing, okay, that's fine, but then the scene just carries on and on. It's like, right, yeah, that went on for too long. It's just a really, really long, slow scene with not a lot happening, and thinking, okay, but then there's other bits which is just like rah 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 full on, change, rah rah rah, running around the streets, you know, arguing and calling each other bitch. Oh my god, they call the word bitch is used so much in the film. Within like the first 5 minutes, I was thinking, oh my god, this entire film basically consists of people calling each other bitch, and that pretty much carries on all the way through. It does fade off a bit towards the end, but it's just bitch this and bitch that, and they're not like saying it in a derogatory term. It's just, you know, the way they're talking, they just say bitch a lot, an awful lot. It's just a general reference to anybody in the film is bitch. That is basically how they speak. So, would I recommend a completely manic film, which is like, I mean, it is almost like schizophrenic in a way. It's just like completely crazy fast 1 minute and then just ridiculously slow, nothing happening the next minute, and then it's ridiculously fast and ridiculously slow. A side storyline about this taxi driver, which I didn't really understand why it was even in the film. There's some drug use as well. They don't make too much of a deal about it. They're smoking crack. Would I recommend it? I don't know. The thing is about this film, there's no beginning and there's no end. It's all middle. The whole thing is middle. So when I was at school and I was told how to write, it's always, oh, a good story always has a beginning, a middle and an end. And I personally haven't always liked the idea of a beginning, middle and an end. If I ever get my arse into gear and actually finish writing my books, which I've mentioned in several of my videos, you'll see the first one I'm writing doesn't actually have a beginning, it just jumps straight in. And that's sort of like life, how life is. If you're just going to focus on somebody's life for one day, because the film goes over one day, it's on Christmas Eve, and there isn't really a beginning, you're just kind of jumping in halfway through someone's life, and then at the end of the day it just leaves, you know, and the credits roll up. So that's basically how this film is. It's just all middle, everything is middle. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. As I said, on my own stuff, it does sort of just jump straight in the middle of something. So that's not a criticism. I've actually, on my own writing, that's a style I've used. I know, it's an interesting film. It's not the sort of film that you would watch with your parents. I don't think I've really come to a conclusion about this film, to be honest. As I said, there are bits I liked, and there are bits that I really didn't like. So as an overall package, I mean, I think there's more bits that I liked than bits I didn't like. But at the same time, the bits that I didn't like, I really didn't like. Because it just was just like what's going on? There were just elements that just didn't seem to make sense to me. Maybe they just went over my head. Again, most of those are with the taxi driver. I just didn't know. I just don't know why he was there. He didn't need to be there. I think, like, when they're making it, they're thinking, oh, we need a main plot and a subplot, but the subplot bit just didn't seem to make any sense. It had nothing to do with anything. It's just, no. And then the film itself doesn't really have a real proper satisfactory conclusion. I said it's all middle. There's no real beginning and there's no real end. It just sort of ends with the credits. I said this film, so I'm really struggling now with this film review because I haven't really come to a definite conclusion about whether I would recommend it or not. I think there are some people that would like it. As I said, there are some good points to it. But the film just sort of doesn't really have a conclusion, and maybe that's why I'm struggling to come to a conclusion, because it just sort of stops, the credits roll up. No one is really having a good time by the end of it. There's several characters you get to know in the film, and at no point is this live happily ever after. It just isn't. That just wasn't in the thinking behind this film. I think they probably planned that right from the very beginning before they even got the cameras out and decided who was going to be in it. They're thinking, this is a film that's not going to have a happily ever after, you know. And, you know, someone who likes Disney, you know, they walk off in the sunset together, this is not for you, because every single character has a pretty crappy ending to the film. But then it's just life, it's just another day. You know, that's just one day in their life, and then the next day will be another day. Well, the next day would be Christmas Day in this film, and then their lives just carry on. There is no happily ever after. So maybe that is probably a more true reflection on real life, really. You know, once any other film, once the cameras stop filming, you know, the characters don't just live in paradise forevermore. You know, they carry on with their lives as they do with this. They just carry on. So yeah. Alright, so this is a film review which doesn't really come to a complete conclusion. For a film that doesn't really have a conclusion, the credits just sort of roll up. So I might just do the same and just end the video there.